Welcome to the Ninja Pouch tutorial. Today, well, let's start off. I went online looking how to make a ninja pouch, and I couldn't really find any tutorials, and I'm kind of figuring I'm not the only one who probably wants to know how to make one of these, so I tried, and it's probably going to look a lot better than this because this is my first try, but it is. When you look at pictures, you're going to see that they're mostly made out of leather. Mine's going to be made out of fabric. Heads up, by the way. The first thing you have to do is get your supplies. Ow. You're going to need fabric. The color depends on you. Thread. As you can see, pins. And if you really need to, a seam ripper, pencil, and scissors. People think you do not need certain scissors for cutting fabric. When you do cut fabric, you do not want just normal scissors. You want fabric scissors, surprisingly. And, yeah, and something round. I'm using an ice cream lid. Anyway, now we're going to start off. First thing you're going to do is grab your pencil and this and your fabric. You're going to trace the circle. The circle all depends on what you want to do with it or anything. See? You got the circle. Round. You're going to need to draw 2 of those. And if you're just like me and you have issues with cutting wedges and going through, like going too far or too short, I recommend grabbing this or a smaller, just a slightly smaller one, and drawing a no-touch line. No-touch line is where you draw something about here. You can cut here, but you cannot go past this line, and you try to make it just to the line. You just gonna cut there. Yeah. But considering I already cut my circles, both of them, you're good. I'm going to show you the next part. Part 2. After you cut your circles, you're going to probably, well, they're going to be round, of course. If they're not, that's not a circle. Maybe an octagon or a square, but it won't be a circle. Okay. After you cut the circle, you're going to cut both of these. I already did cut one, but it's kind of on the next part. You're going to want to cut wedges. Wedges are little indents in the circle, and you might think you need to skip this part, but I wouldn't. It releases tension when you're sewing, makes it look nicer, and doesn't make it look all tight and cramped. It also really does help. You're going to cut some wedges like this. They're going to look like little triangles. They don't have to be that small or bigger. They can be about what you think you need in yours. It just depends on the person. After you cut these, you're going to want to start cutting it around. Like, this one is for the next part, but I cut this all the way around. And after you do that, you're going to get a thin strip of material from the material you used. You're going to cut one as long as your circle, or at least almost as long. It doesn't necessarily have to be to wrap around your whole circle. The reason we do this is because you don't want it to be just like a circle, like no room. You want it to hold right here. And you don't have to have this. This is just where I put mine. And the reason you do the indents is so when you open this, like turn it inside out, it may not look as nice. And I hand stitch this one. I recommend using a sewing machine. It's a lot stronger and more dependable. It takes less time. It's gonna be easier to sew. So when you do, it releases the tension and it gives it more of a round look, and it doesn't look as bunched. Because I hand sewed mine and I'm not the best at hand sewing, it does not look the best. So you're going to cut a strip like this, probably longer, I'm just using spare material right now, and you're going to cut indents, just like your circle. I'm not going to do a full one because I already have that done. I'm just going to give you a little quick tutorial. See, you got these and this. You're going to pin it right here. The pins that I stabbed myself on earlier. And you're going to put, like, just pin it. Do not just pin the triangles, that will not work. You got to actually pin the material. And when you're sewing, you do not sew here, you sew here. So that's why I recommended doing the writing where you do the second circle, just to make sure you do not go over the bounds. Because it helps and it saves you material, because if you know you're going to go over, you make yourself a little bit bigger. You're going to need a lot of pins, and probably not this many. But that's for the next stage, which is, voila. As you can see, I wrapped it fully around. It's not fully pinned, and that's the way I want it, because it's going to be like the opening where you can like stick stuff. This one, we're going to make them so they can hold, not just design. If you want to design, you don't have to do this thing right here, or you can if you want. And it actually will be able to hold. So for my hand stitching here came undone, so it has a little hole. I'm going to use a sewing machine this time, it should look a lot better. So you're going to start pinning, and you're going to make sure, as you can see, it relieved the tension by cutting, and it actually made this straight strip go around. You're going to pin it all the way around, make sure you got no bunches, make it look nice. Even though this will be the inside, this will be the inside. You won't see this when you're done. I'm going to leave this in case I want an opening a little smaller, and if I want to, a little bigger. Okay. Second part is you're going to finish this. You're going to finish cutting your indents in this one. Not as close. You don't need that as close. I just did that for show you. And you will need this all the way around. No skipping or anything. It will help in the long run. Trust me.